So I was having some thoughts on this YouTube monetization issue, and well, other people have gone into more detail about what's happening. So I'll link that down in the description so you can get up to speed. But the thing for a lot of creators, they're focusing on the monetization problem, especially people who are being demonetized, and that's understandable because, well, their source of income for a lot of full-time YouTubers is precisely the monetization of their videos. So they're going to be really concerned about that. But the origin of this story or this problem really comes with advertisers. Advertisers are having trouble with their brands being represented on YouTube. And if advertisers are having trouble with their image, then they're not going to be willing to advertise on YouTube. And if YouTube is not getting ad revenue, then they can't monetize people's videos. So the origin of the problem here is the advertisers and specifically how YouTube curates its content. Now, the thing is, if you remember when YouTube originally started, it was basically just a platform for people to upload their own videos and share them. You could not monetize your videos initially. And the way that YouTube paid for itself was through advertising on YouTube. The ads would go onto the page of YouTube, and it was YouTube that was advertising itself and not the content of the videos. And then YouTube found that they could get more ads and more ad revenue if they put advertising on the videos themselves, either on the video in that low bar, or in front, or in the middle, or at the end of videos where you would have you'd have the ad playing. And what this does is it associates the ad with the content that's being produced. The video content ends up being associated somewhat with the ad, and this has some advantages, especially for the advertiser, because if the YouTuber is a very popular YouTuber, they can sort of appear as sponsoring that brand, and they get more brand recognition. And so a lot of advertisers were happy with that, as long as the content that was being created is something that matched their brand. But the thing is, YouTube is such a broad, open platform that so many people, well, the thing is, anyone can upload it. And while that's awesome because you get all this wide variety of stuff, and a lot of the stuff is really good quality, you can get some bad apples. And it's really hard to control where those or to find those bad apples, because the amount of content that's put up on YouTube is staggering. I think it's 300 hours per minute or per second or something like that. I'm not really, as you can see, in a position to fact check that. But it's a lot of content being put up in a very short over time. So it's really hard for YouTube to really police that content, to make sure that nothing really horrible is being put on. So YouTube sort of lets that to the community. The community is sort of expected to police that content, but that also has another problem, because who's going to be flagging videos? You see, people who, well, how do I put this? The people who are really sensitive about stuff, they're going to be going around flagging a lot of videos, but they aren't necessarily going to be seeing the really bad stuff that would be turning off advertisers. So what happens is, if you have really popular videos that are generating a lot of ad revenue, and there's nothing really advertiser unfriendly about them, but they get flagged frequently because they're popular and there are a lot of people seeing it, and if they don't like it, one of the things that they do is they flag it. And then you have some really awful stuff that's on YouTube, and what I mean awful is like KKK and ISIS are putting stuff on YouTube, and that doesn't get flagged because the people that watch that stuff are already people that are interested in seeing it. And so what's happening for advertisers is that they can see where their ads are showing up, and they're seeing, even though their ads are showing up mostly on popular channels and there's no problem, they can look into their account and see that their ads are popping up on stuff that are really gross, and they're very unhappy about that. And there's a second thing about a push from people that have a political agenda targeting advertisers that have their stuff associated with certain content. And so, I mean, if you're an ad executive and you're and you get an email from someone saying, hey, your ad showed up next to someone talking, saying something, I don't know, anti-Semitic or homophobic, you can see how that would be a significant problem for that ad executive. So there's a problem. The real problem here, I think, is the curation of the content that's on YouTube and how to keep out these bad apples. And YouTube really hasn't come up with a way to solve that. And since the people that are most affected by this YouTube issue are the content creators themselves, the content creators need to sort of come up with ideas in ways to help fix it. And that's another problem. You see, YouTube has this chronic problem of not communicating with its community. Has the other effect that it isn't listening to its creators. There's no back and forth communication. So YouTube is out selling a product that's being created by people with whom it doesn't have any communication. And so this is creating an extra layer of problems when it comes to curating the content. And the users themselves don't really know what to flag as advertiser friendly and what not. I mean, it could very possibly be a solution would be for content creators who would know the guidelines for advertising stuff, and those who participate in advertiser friendly programs could be pointing out which content could be advertiser friendly, which content couldn't be advertising friendly, but they don't know. People just upload stuff kind of hoping that it's going to be monetized or not monetized. I guess the big problem is the lack of communication between content creators and YouTube. And I really don't have a solution to that, but I guess that's my 2 cents.